Okay, we have mod 2 of today. The first was the Works airbox cover video here, maybe. And today we are swapping our stock front turn signals for little LEDs. Very excited for this one. These things are huge and kind of ugly. And I looked around for a little bit and found this little guy on Amazon, and it is about 25 bucks. It is a CNC'd aluminum housing with 2 colors of LEDs, and 2 colors of LEDs means we get white running lights now, which I am very excited about, and we still retain amber blinkers. So clearly I've already done one of them. I'll walk you through what the second one looks like, and then we'll talk about the relay in the back and what that takes to swap out as well. So, without further ado, let's go. Stuck on a rock. Okay, so what are the parts I use? What tools do we need? 10mm wrench for the standoffs on the turn signals, 5mm hex head, and then the front 2 bolts underneath the speedometer. I found a ball end hex actually works a little bit better, and that's really it for tools. For parts, I found these Yoshimura adapter plates on Revzilla that were like 60% off, so I think I paid 24 bucks for those or something. And they're for a 2017 to 2019 Grom, but they still worked just fine on this bike. I think they still fit pretty well. But that was a fun find, and now I can say that I have some Yoshi parts on the bike. This is the cheapest solid state LED flasher relay I could find. I accidentally ordered 2 of them. It was a 2-pack for 8 bucks on Amazon. This is our turn signal itself. Like I said, there's 2 colors of LEDs in there. There's a white and an amber, and it's in a CNC housing. The threads feel pretty good. But it has bullet connectors on the end. Now, if you know me, I'm a big fan of keeping harnesses stock wherever possible and just making or using adapters, which is where this comes in. This is from TST Industries. It's their Honda 3-to-3 adapter. Since the front turn signals have running lights, we need the 3-to-3 instead of the 3-to-2. If you don't buy lights with running lights, you can get the 3-to-2, and that'll be fine. I tried to find this plastic adapter to make my own, but was unable to, and I think this was 14 bucks online plus some shipping, which is actually what led me to that airbox cover back there, was buying this, and I saw that on there. I was like, well, why not? That could be fun. And yeah, that's all you need. I think these were about 25 bucks, 16. I think that was like 24 and 8. So all in, whatever that math is. Let's go back to the bike, and I'll show you getting the headlight shroud and the speedometer shroud off. Okay, getting the shrouds off. I already undid all the bolts because I did this one to make sure it worked before we filmed anything, of course, but there are 2 bolts back here, 2 bolts back here. Headlight comes up a little bit and then off. When you get there, there's this plastic clip. If you push in on the backside and the backside, so that's going to be hard to see, but it snaps into that bracket there, backside there, and it comes off. And then getting the headlight connector out, push down on that tab and pull out, and that comes off. We will set that in a safe place. And then to get this piece off, there are 2 clips that hold it underneath the Speedo. And then the whole thing just comes off. That was a bit more aggressive than it needed to be. But these 2 clips here attach right here, and that's really what is holding it on for the most part, aside from the 2 screws. So now that we have that off, like I said, I already did one. So this orange wire was actually looped up and around, and I should probably loop it back around. And that's what was connected to our stock turn signal. These little 3-way clips can be a little tricky to work with, but there is a little finger here. Use a pick, or if you have a fingernail of any decent length, you can just pry that up and it pops apart. But since we already did that one, we'll plug it. Actually, need to rerun that back to how it was. There's a lot of cables in here, so make sure you're keeping track of what goes where. I'm a big fan of taking a picture of it, and then you have something to refer to later. So let's get our right hand turn signal out and unplug. There's a couple wires coming around. We want to slide this boot up as much as you can and expose this blue connector here. And we're going to peel that up and out. And our light is now unplugged. 10mm wrench. Loosen that. That is ridiculously tight on there, for me at least. And get that little cap nut, acorn nut, whatever, off. And there is a washer back there too that you don't want to have fall down into all your wiring. So set those aside. We're not going to be reusing those. And then here is kind of the, oh, we can take this bracket off. That slides over the end. Here gets kind of an annoying part. So the way that this is in there, there's this big thick rubber part that you have to pry out from this connector. The whole time I was doing it on the first one, I felt like I was about to break it, but it was okay. So how I did it before was I got the back end out like that and then pushed the front through, and it worked fine. And you can remove your turn signal. So both of them are off. Well, now that they're both off, you should do the same on this side as well. We'll get going with the new one. All right, take your turn signal, and you're gonna undo the nut and lock washer that are on there. These are M8 thread, which is the only size that works with these Yoshi plates. Other ones may be M10, M10. Just use whatever you have that fits whatever adapter plate you get. There's several other companies that make adapter plates. You don't have to go with the Yoshi. I just liked the bling factor of it. So nut and bolt off, or washer and nut off. We then grab our Yoshi plate, slide the wires through, and this is where it starts to take a little bit of thinking on what you're doing. Or I guess just careful processing, because you don't want to do this a few times. So then we'll run our wires through the hole. I just like keeping everything tight there so it's not rattling. The Yoshis come with these adapter inside plates. So we will then slide that on. These bullet connectors, it helps to just put them through one at a time. Otherwise, they're a little too thick. Great. And then this hole on here is offset, so the longer end goes towards the back a little. And then we're going to put our washer and our nut back on. Okay, and then at this point, I usually just keep things finger tight. Just not knowing until we have everything wired if it's actually going to work, if your turn signals will work, if my turn signals will work. It just gives me a little bit more flexibility before tightening everything down permanently. So now we have our bullet connectors and our adapter. When I did my first one, I was thrown off for a while because no matter what relay I was using, I wasn't getting flashing, wasn't getting the amber lit up. And the Amazon description actually had the wiring reversed for the ground and the amber turn signal portion. So that, I think, was what was messing me up for the most part. But we got that fixed and it's all working now. So Hopefully this other turn signal is the same as this one, and I can just copy my colors. So for the TST, again, I don't actually know which colors are which anymore because the Amazon listing was messed up, and we're now going from, you know, stock Honda orange, green, and orange with stripe, and blue with stripe and green, to TST's brown, red, and blue, to Amazon whatever. So I had a multimeter out on my first one and said, you know, what wire has positive signal, and then what wire has voltages going across the two, and then looked at the polarity and kind of figured it out that way. So all right, our wires are connected. Again, this is how mine worked, assuming that they're wired the same as each other. Hey, look at that. And then right now, we don't get any turning or any blinking. So I'm going to put the headlight back together, and we will go swap out the flasher relay real quick. Okay, so I ran into one bit of a snag that should be pretty easy to fix, and I'm going to do it with my 3D printer, but you could probably honestly do it with a piece of cardboard or something. When I went to put this on, the plate sitting inside of this lip is fine, and the plate sitting outside of the lip is fine, but that lip is perfectly placed when this is all snugged up so that it doesn't do one or the other. One side's one way, the other side's the other way. If you center it perfectly, it sits on that lip and it's all messed up. So that was preventing it from sitting even and then sitting behind the panel. So what I'm going to do is just print a little U-shaped spacer real quick that should not take very long, that I can slip around here or around between the aluminum plate and the bracket, just to space it out about 2 millimeters further on either side. So again, this is a tiny little alignment issue that we'll solve pretty quickly. You could probably just jam a washer in there and tighten it up and it would be fine, but we're gonna do things the correct way. So we're gonna print something and be back in a few. Got the spacers printing, so while we're waiting for that, let's talk about the relay we need to replace. So, blinker relay located right here. It pulls off and it unplugs. There's this little rubber holdy doody that we need to swap over, and that's what keeps it from rattling around. It's got these really annoying hooks on there, so we're going to use a hook to try and get it up and over that. There we go. Okay, now that that's off, we will just put it on our new one. On the new one, this little dial here lets you adjust the frequency of the blinker. I was messing with it earlier, and I think I have it in a good spot. I prefer a little bit slower blinker rather than a rapid one, so we're just going to go with that. And then plug it back in. The blades on this are rotated slightly from how this one is, but it'll be fine. And that's all it is for swapping out that relay. So one more quick note on why we have to swap out relays. This is a mechanical relay. Should be, at least. There's a little thing in there that heats up with the resistance, breaks, and then it goes out, cools off, makes the connection again, lights turn back on, resists, heats up, whatever. So that's why when it's expecting, 21 watts to heat up that resistor, but it's only getting 2, 3 from the turn signal, the LED turn signals, it doesn't actually ever break, and so you just get a steady light instead of it flashing. The clicking noise is that relay going on and off. Ours is an electronics solid state relay, so we lose that clicking noise, which is a little bit of a bummer, but whatever. You can hardly hear it anyway. So with that swapped, I'm going to wait for spacers to finish printing. It's about a 15-minute print after I got it all designed, and then we will finally button all that back up. Okay, super quick and easy print. It's just this little U-shaped. Like I said, you could probably get away with cutting this out of like cardboard or a really thin piece of metal, whatever. And it's about 2 millimeters thick. Already have one in on this side. We're going to slip it in between the mount and the adapter plate on that side as well. And then I need to tighten that down. These turn signals are a little bit bigger nut than stock. So they are a 13 mil instead of the stock ones that used a 10 mil. So we'll get those snug and just about level and put it all back together. So now these little plates should fit on the outside rather than the inside. And really just be a lot more snug all around. So cool, that's great. As I almost fall out of my stool. Yeah, that fits pretty damn well there now. We'll get these bolts in, the headlight back on, and do some final looks. All right, so running lights. Left turn signal, right turn signal. Oh man, I am happy. I think these look sweet. Sorry, I just hit you into the handlebar there. I think that spacing issue actually ended up being a good thing because I think these plates look better on the outside of that plastic piece than on the inside. I am tickled with how that worked out. And like I said, these are not plastic, they're CNC'd aluminum. I think that looks great. Whoop, as it can't focus. There's the focus. I don't know, let me know what you think. I think it looks pretty cool. Okay, well, we're not going to turn the headlight on because that involves running the bike in the garage, and I don't have the door open because it's snowing outside right now. So anyways, that is this video. Thanks for watching. We will see you on the next one.